Hello, welcome back to the Breaking News Update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I have a ton of very big news that I'd like to share with all of you today. So, last night, this war was very active on both ends, Ukraine and Russia heavily attacking each other. We'll start off talking about massive attacks inside of Russia last night. So, we have reports of a double tap attack onto the 112th Missile Brigade in Russia's military in the Ivanova region in the town of Shuya. So, just yesterday reported that Ukraine had attacked this missile brigade. They're responsible for the attacks onto Sumy in northeastern Ukraine on Sunday, where we had well over 30 people that lost their lives and over 100 being injured in horrific ballistic missile attacks coming from the 112th Missile Brigade in the Ivanova region, which was attacked last night and the night before. And then also 2 nights ago, we had the 448th Missile Brigade in the Kursk region that Ukraine also attacked. Okay, so Ukraine is not done getting revenge for this horrible attack that took place in Sumy last Sunday. So we'll talk more about that. Like you see here on your screen, this is a picture actually coming out from that area. We had some sort of hangar or something that was destroyed here in this photo. I've got lots of videos and pictures coming out from there. So another drone swarm on the 112th Missile Brigade. Also reports that the Kursk region was attacked last night by drones also, and reportedly maybe the Kalino military airfield could have been attacked over there, but we don't have official confirmation of that yet. But I do have videos showing explosions over there. And then inside of Ukraine, we had multiple cities being hit heavily last night with drones and missiles. Dnipro got hit in southeastern Ukraine, heavily attacked by drones. I've got pictures and videos from there. Kherson in southern Ukraine hit by guided aerial bombs. We had many lives being lost in these attacks over there as well. Kharkiv and Donetsk regions also being hit. This is in northeastern and southeastern Ukraine, hit by ballistic missiles. And also in the Belgorod region, we heard inside of Russia just yesterday afternoon, there was a report of a Russian offensive with Kamaz trucks, if I'm saying that right. These are kind of like transport trucks that the Russians use for their military, and well over 60 plus reported casualties on the Russian side when they tried to carry out an assault in the Belgorod region. So we'll go over all these details, guys. Lots of news to jump into. Let's go ahead and hop on over here to X now with Max24, and he says drones attack on Russia. Map from Drone Bomber. Okay, so this was the map that came out yesterday showing the direction of the different drones entering into Russia last night. So we can see the Kursk region, majority of these drones entering through here, some through Belgorod also. And the Ivanova Oblast would be up here just a little bit northeast of Moscow, where the 112th Missile Brigade, we're going to start off talking about there. You can see a lot of these drones heading that direction already. So we'll move on to another update here from Military News UA. Drones once again attacked the barracks of the 112th Missile Brigade in Shuya, Russia last night, or at night. So we've got a video here about 30 seconds long. You're going to see an explosion just over in the distance. Somebody was recording in the town of Shuya, where this 112th Missile Brigade is located. So go ahead and take a look at this real quick. All right, we'll go ahead and pause it right there, guys. That's pretty much it for this video in terms of what you're going to see here. But a massive explosion from one of these Ukrainian drones that this man captured on video. You can see right there, and it set off all the car alarms in the area. So these drones are very powerful whenever they explode. Let's go ahead and jump on to another update now from Military News UA. Additional details of the second night attack on the base of the Russian 112th Missile Brigade in Shuya. The UAVs hit a weapons storage warehouse, personnel locations, modular shelters for equipment and personnel pictured, a transformer substation, and a water tower. The consequences of the attack are being clarified. Okay, so these are allegedly some of the targets that Ukraine was going after, and I know that the weapons storage warehouse was one of the big targets. There's some hangars located inside this facility where they could be storing some of these Iskander ballistic missiles that they use to carry out strikes on Ukraine. So it looks like that's what they were going after. We've got a video here we can show you guys about 14 seconds long. Go ahead and take a look at this. All right, so it looks like something pretty big blew up over here at the 112th Missile Brigade facility. Now, I don't know exactly what it was that was hit over here, but definitely a massive fire coming from the 112th Missile Brigade over here. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other videos and pictures we have for you guys. Now, from Ukraine front line, Shuya, Ivanova region, the preliminary landings were at hangars where Iskander missiles are stored. Okay, so some people on X were able to geolocate these strikes that were taking place over here. So you can see, looks like the person was probably standing over here on this little roadway. You can see these little shacks right here. And then we've got these hangars in the distance. You can see in this photo, might be a little bit small on your screen, but there's two hangars over here. And this kind of yellow one indicates where this hangar was at. And we had a drone that actually landed right over here, very close to these hangars. So it looks like Ukraine was trying to go after these hangars to destroy these missiles. I'm not sure if they really destroyed them or not, but we can see from some of the videos that were coming out, like this one right here, we got a snapshot that shows fire that broke out near one of these hangars. So we'll find out later if maybe some Iskander missiles were destroyed, as we did just have that video a second ago that showed a massive blaze. It's possible it could have been from one of the hangars. Now for Max 24, another strike on Russia's 112th Missile Brigade in Shuya, Dossier Shpiona. UAVs attacked weapons depots, barracks, vehicle shelters, power substation, water tower, and more. Okay, so here's a couple of photos coming out from this place as we had massive damage here to what looks like possibly some sort of hangar or some sort of building also that was hit. Here's another photo that I had for you guys on the waiting screen when you came in, so you can see massive damage here also. And I think this other hangar over here was also hit. So two of them completely destroyed from Ukrainian drones last night. So that'll be good news if we hear that maybe some of these Iskander missiles had exploded. But considering that this whole building was not completely destroyed, I would think if these missiles were there and they blew up, this thing would probably not even be standing anymore. But it looks like we definitely had some damage to some hangars over here. Now we'll move on to attacks that happened inside of Kursk last night. Max 24, Big Bavovna, which means explosion in Kursk. UAV's threat at the Kalino airfield. Okay, so get your ears ready. This video is very loud. It's going to start off very quiet, then all of a sudden a massive explosion from a Ukrainian drone. Take a look at this. All right, so almost sounded maybe like there was two explosions there. Maybe it was some sort of secondary explosion, but we definitely had some massive explosions over here inside the Kursk region last night. Not too many videos coming out, but definitely some explosions nonetheless. So now we'll move on to talking about some strikes inside of Ukraine last night. We'll start off here with the city of Dnipro. War Translated reported, the city of Dnipro is under a massive drone attack in the past 20 minutes. More than 10 explosions have been heard. Okay, so you can see this actually came out yesterday, my time, around 1:15 p.m. So this would have been into the late evening inside of Ukraine. Here's a picture coming out from Dnipro last night. They were heavily hit by lots of drones. I think we had somewhere around 75 Russian drones flying into Ukraine last night. So it looks like a lot of them were definitely targeting the city of Dnipro, which we have seen before. A lot of times when Dnipro gets attacked, they get attacked by massive swarms of drones. And a lot of times Russia's been changing their tactics that I reported to you guys about a week or two ago, where they collect a lot of them, like in the south in the Black Sea. They'll wait and stage for a large swarm to build up. And then when they get a large swarm, they'll fly very high. And then when they get close to Dnipro, they dive bomb, hitting targets instead of flying at a lower altitude and then just kind of crashing into a building. So the Russians are changing their tactics, and it looks like it's working. Lots of damage in cities. Now from Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, it was a difficult night in Dnipro. A Russian drone strike hit the city. They targeted ordinary residential buildings, ordinary civilian infrastructure. The rubble is still being cleared. Currently, 16 people are in city hospitals. In total, 28 people were injured, including 4 children. All of them are receiving assistance. Tragically, 3 people were killed by this Russian strike, among them a girl, Veronica. She was only 17 years old. My condolences to the families and loved ones. Odessa was also struck by drones. 3 people were wounded. Residential buildings, a pharmacy, and a church were damaged. Sumy region came under aerial bomb attacks, while Kharkiv and Donetsk regions were hit by Russian ballistic missiles. Every defense package from our partners for Ukraine right now, every form of support from the world for our resilience is literally the protection of lives Russia uses every day and night, every night to kill. Pressure must be applied to the killers and life must be helped. to stop this war and ensure a reliable peace. I want to thank all our partners who are using their capabilities for this very purpose. Wars are stopped through strength against the aggressor, strength in defense of life. Okay, so very big statement from Volodymyr Zelensky. Here's some pictures coming out. People being saved from these drone attacks last night, even in high-rise buildings being directly hit from these drones. Also, we have cars being destroyed. I mean, just massive amounts of damage inside of Ukraine last night, not only inside of Russia, but lots of civilians being harmed, many people losing their lives, like unfortunately this young girl who is only 17 years old by the name of Veronica. So very sad to have to report that, and hopefully that family is getting the assistance that they need to get through that horrible tragedy. Now from Maria Avdiva, massive drone attack on Dnipro tonight. Russia's not planning to stop. The only real guarantee against their aggression is a strong army, solid air defense, and enough ammo. Here's another picture from Dnipro last night. I mean, guys, just massively hit once again. I think the last time I reported Dnipro was about 2 weeks ago, right before I went on vacation, and Dnipro just got hit very, very hard, similar to what we saw tonight. So very sad for the people of Ukraine that are enduring these tragedies. Now for Max 24, cars are burning at the strike site in Dnipro. Absolutely targeted strikes on the city center. We got a 10-second clip of what looks like some sort of carport maybe that caught on fire here. We had cars destroyed as well. Take a look.
Полная жесть. Минус автопарк. Полная.
All right, so we can see also lots of glass on the ground right here, probably a bunch of windows being shattered and blown out. I mean, just imagine, even if your building is not directly hit, your windows are getting blown out, and just so much damage here being reported inside of Ukraine today. So very sad news, guys. Now moving on to Bliskovka. This morning, the Russians attacked a DTEC facility in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Drones were used to target a DTEC production site. Buildings and equipment suffered serious damage. Okay, so DTEC, if you guys aren't aware who that is, they're a major energy company inside of Ukraine. Now, DTEC's come out at one point in the past, maybe 6 to 8 months ago, stated that Russia has destroyed 80% of DTEC facilities inside of Ukraine. And right now, we're supposed to be having a moratorium on strikes on energy facilities. So DTEC's coming out again and saying that Russia attacked yet again another energy facility. This is probably more than 5 or maybe up to 10 by now. Reports of Russian strikes on energy facilities, and it's supposed to be about close to a month now that we're supposed to be seeing a moratorium on strikes on energy facilities. So it looks like Russia's still breaking that agreement. Now from the Ukrainian Review, there were no new decrees from Putin regarding the moratorium on strikes, according to Peskov. So Dmitry Peskov, that is. The 30-day ban on strikes expired on April 17th because Putin believes that he started it on March 18th. Ukraine believes that the 30-day energy moratorium has been in effect since March 25th. Okay, so this makes you wonder if we're going to see a return to strikes on energy infrastructure on both sides. Russia usually targets Ukraine's energy facilities, and is that why we had that attack on the DTEC facility today? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, Russia's already been doing this prior to this moratorium supposedly expiring, but Russia and Ukraine appear to have different dates of when it started and when it ends and all that. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but it looks like we could be seeing a return to strikes on energy again soon, which means more Bavovna inside of Russia targeting oil facilities, okay? Now from Bliskovka, Russia's hit the central district of Kherson. There is a seriously injured child. Kherson RMA reported. At about 10:30, an airstrike was carried out on a residential building. A 15-year-old child was seriously injured. She has mine, explosive, and craniocerebral injury. 2 men born in 1997 and 1966, were also injured. Both had mine explosive injuries. UPD reported a man died in an airstrike in Kherson. The number of injured has increased to 4. Okay, so you can see here, Kherson just being hit so hard, guys, with just lots of aerial bombs over the last 24 hours. We know that artillery is constantly hitting that city right now as well. Now from next, the Russians are barbarically shelling a residential area in Kherson with KAB bombs. Those are guided aerial bombs. Aerial footage shows the destruction, and they really want a ceasefire by Easter. So some sources on X were indicating that these were the Russians recording this. I mean, look at these attacks over here, guys, right in the city center of Kherson, striking what looks like some civilian buildings here multiple times with guided aerial bombs. Looks like at least maybe 3 or 4 bombs dropped in this one area. And it's very sad to see, guys. Kherson's just been getting hit so hard. There's even a person driving in a van right here, just about a half a mile away from where these strikes were taking place. So, yeah, lots of people losing their lives and being injured in attacks over here. Very brutal attacks on Ukraine. Now, for Bliskovka, 2 men killed, 5 injured in Nikopol, according to the RMA. Russians shelled the city with heavy artillery. Men aged 56 and 61 were killed. 4 injured are in serious condition. A shop, cafe, houses, cars, a bus stop were damaged. Fire broke out. Okay, so Nikopol is close to Zaporizhia in southern Ukraine near the Dnieper River. And we've got more damage over here as well. Okay, guys, lots of shelling with artillery occurring in Nikopol. More people losing their lives. Okay, so very horrible events taking place over the last 24 hours. Now for more Monitor. Russian media is reporting Ukrainian artillery and drones destroyed a large convoy of Russian forces in the Belgorod region. Losses are 60 plus Russian servicemen. Okay, so this is an attack that occurred yesterday. This came out after we put out our update for the Russia-Ukraine war, so that's why I wanted to include it today. But there was a massive attack from the Russians, about 60 plus servicemen losing their lives, rolling in KAMAZ trucks, from what I understand. We've got some other information here from Ukrainian Witness. Very successful strike on a convoy of KAMAZ trucks carrying Russian military personnel in the Belgorod region has been reported. Local Telegram chats claim that around 60 Russian conscripts were denazified. So here's a video right here. Not really much sound to it, but somebody was recording over here. We can see lots of explosions that took place and lots of fire and smoke here. So reportedly, artillery and drones were attacking this area where this convoy of Russian KAMAZ trucks were traveling in the Belgorod region, completely destroyed. And from what we understand, 60 plus servicemen losing their lives. So it says right here on Telegram, our column is there, 5 plus KAMAZ trucks, all 200 times 2, more than 60 people. Okay, so reportedly up to 60 or more Russian soldiers could have lost their lives or at least been wounded in these attacks from Ukraine yesterday in the Belgorod region. So massive hit there from Ukraine. Now from Corby's Zone, Ukraine has announced a dramatic 8-fold increase in its domestic production of cruise and ballistic missiles. Okay, this actually came out yesterday. As we did here, I reported to you guys that the BARS cruise missile or missile drone was developed from Ukraine and will be unveiled here probably in the next month or so. And on top of that, Ukraine has 8-fold increased their domestic production of cruise and ballistic missiles. So imagine by this summer or the end of the year, I mean, we could definitely be seeing Ukraine launching lots of attacks with missiles inside of Russia here very soon, maybe going after Moscow or more oil refineries inside of Russia. And imagine the amount of damage they could do, you know, just on top of the drone attacks that they're already throwing into Russia. Okay, so pretty crazy news. Now for Max 24, yeah, the UK will support Germany's decision to send Taurus missiles to Ukraine. According to the Telegraph, this was reported yesterday also, and I missed this report, so I wanted to share this with you real quick. So the UK is open to Germany's decision to send these Taurus missiles into Ukraine, and I think Germany was saying that they want support from France and Britain before they send these in. So it looks like we've got at least bare minimum UK support. We'll see if France steps up and supports that decision as well. Here's another report from Max 24. Also, the use of Taurus missiles to strike Russia's critical infrastructure can be regarded as Germany's direct participation in the war on the side of Ukraine, Russian Foreign Ministry. Okay, so you can believe this if you want to, or you don't have to believe it. I mean, Russia's already said this many times about Storm Shadow missiles from Britain, and also the ATACMS from the U.S., stating that if those ever hit their territory, it'd be World War III and whatnot. We've heard that many times. But all those missiles have already hit Russian territory, and Russia has not responded to it at all. At the most, all they did was really launch an Oreshnik medium-range ballistic missile into Ukraine that caused basically no damage for the most part. So let me know if you guys think that Russia will respond to Taurus missiles striking their territory. Now for Max 24 again, Zelensky warns of possible Russian strikes on Ukraine on Easter. We know what Russia is preparing for. There is data from our special services, from intelligence. Now, both on the eve of Easter and after it, new Russian strikes are possible. All right, guys, so coming up this Sunday, Ukraine is preparing for Russia to carry out a massive attack, probably a huge missile attack onto Ukraine is what I'm thinking. We haven't seen something like that in well over a month now from what I've been reporting. So probably expect maybe up to 100 missiles or more being fired into Ukraine. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm not calling for that to happen. But there's been a lot of reports from Ukraine coming out stating that they're very worried of Russia launching a massive attack onto their territory coming up soon this weekend. Now, from Max 24, again, an explosion occurred in Lyubertsy, Moscow region at the, this one's just so hard to pronounce. I'm not sure, guys. Toria aluminum product plant. So I'm not sure if this produces aluminum or what this does here, but some sort of manufacturing plant inside the Moscow region had some sort of explosion. Was it sabotage? We don't really know, but so many explosions taking place in the Moscow region. That's why I like to pull these up and show these to you guys, even if we don't have the details on what exactly happened, because it makes you wonder if maybe it was some sort of sabotage or was it some sort of accident? We don't really know. But yet again, another explosion in the Moscow region. Take a look at this also from Max 24. A fire at CHP 26 heat and power plant in Moscow. Okay, so yet again, another electricity facility or heating facility inside of Moscow on fire again. I mean, there's just been so many reports of fires and just explosions all over the place, just like we talked about with that possible aluminum plant or manufacturing plant inside of Moscow region. Also, this was video coming out from there. So yet again, another fire inside of Moscow. Now from Vicegrad 24, Russia plans to use an American-owned company seized by the Kremlin and placed under state control to supply food to the Russian army. The canned food maker, Glav Product, is the only American-owned firm to have been stolen by Russia so far. Okay, so this is an interesting report. I'm not sure why Russia would come out and announce this right now. Wouldn't that upset America, as this was a company seized by Russia since the start of the war, as we know that America or Europe in general has seized a lot of Russian assets. This is mainly the only American company that's been seized by Russia, but now they want to make it state-owned by the Kremlin and use it to supply food rations here for the Russian army. Okay, so I wonder how the U.S. is going to respond to that. I would assume that they probably will not do anything, assuming that that Donald Trump maintains his position on Russia. He's been very pro-Russia, is how it seems lately. So they probably wouldn't do anything. But in a normal world, I would think the U.S. would respond to that and would not be okay with that. It could affect negotiations. So we'll see what happens with that. Now for Vicegrad 24, important meetings taking place today. Meloni is meeting Trump in the U.S. to discuss EU-U.S. trade relations. Witkoff and Rubio are in Paris to discuss Ukraine with European leaders, including Macron. Okay, so I let you guys know that yesterday, Steve Witkoff and the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, were going to be in Paris. There's a major meeting being held today. They're going to be talking to Ukraine delegation, also the Coalition of the Willing. That's being put together inside of Europe right now. And also Trump meeting with Meloni regarding EU and U.S. trade relations. We know there's a lot of trade war going on right now, so she's trying to stabilize things with Trump. She's the Prime Minister of Italy, by the way, if you're wondering who that is. Now for Max 24, Ukraine met with members of the Coalition of the Willing in Paris. The talks were attended by high-ranking officials from France, UK, and Germany. Main topic was a complete ceasefire and security guarantees, including the involvement of military contingent. So here's photos coming out from this meeting in Paris today. Ukrainian delegation meeting with U.S. delegation, also France, UK, Germany was there, talking about security guarantees for Ukraine. Security contingent being sent to Ukraine in the event that we get a ceasefire. So major high-level talks being held inside of Paris today. Now from Bliskovka again, in recent weeks, Ukrainian defenders have liberated about 16 square kilometers near Pokrovsk, according to Ukrainian Armed Forces Chief Syrsky. That's Oleksandr Syrsky, their commander. The area in question is in the vicinity of Udashne, Kotline, and Shevchenko. Sorry, I'm probably butchering those guys. My apologies, but these are all kind of like southern areas of where Pokrovsk is at. Pokrovsk is right here, okay? This is a very important city that Ukraine's been fighting for months now in eastern Ukraine. Southeastern, I guess I should say, in the Donetsk region. And we've been hearing of Ukraine launching counterattacks in these areas. You can see they're blue here. But from what we're hearing, Ukraine has liberated about 16 square kilometers while they've been counterattacking south of Pokrovsk. So that's very big news. The Russians have been halted in this area. They are not advancing on Pokrovsk from what we understand. Now from Max 24 again, the UK Ministry of Defense tested a high-power microwave weapon called Rapid Destroyer, developed by Thales. I don't know if it's Thales or Tales. led consortium. It disables drone electronics using radio frequencies, according to the Financial Times. Trial neutralized 2 8 drone swarms with 100 plus total drones defeated. Aims to counter mass drone warfare seen in Ukraine. Experts hail its wide area effect, but caution it's not ideal for civilian zones. So interesting, not ideal for civilian zones. So where would you use this at? It would probably have to be in a remote area, I would think. And I wonder how much this could affect people nearby and what distance people need to be away from it. Obviously, it's microwaves, right? So here's a little graph that kind of talks about this, a little chart. And it says UK's military, a new high-powered microwave weapon, the Thales Rapid Destroyer, designed to counter swarms of fast, small drones. It does this by emitting focused microwaves that are powerful enough to disrupt and damage electronics in drones at a range of up to 1 kilometer. With a cost of 10 pence per shot, it can emit instantaneously and continuously as long as the power supply is maintained. Microwaves are electromagnetic waves that fall between radio and infrared on the electromagnetic spectrum. Here's where they fall on the spectrum there. It says the Rapid Destroyer can be integrated into a larger air defense system with components optimized to counter other threats such as aircraft and missiles. That's interesting. It is defined as a directed energy weapon, category of arms using concentrated energy from electromagnetic or particle technology, which also includes the Dragonfire laser weapon. Okay, so here's kind of a picture what looks like the Dragonfire laser. We know about that already, but imagine if Ukraine was able to get their hands on this. I wonder if the UK would try to test this out inside of Ukraine. But the fact that they're stating here it's not ideal for civilian zones, a little concerning. Makes you wonder, again, how far people need to be away from this thing when it's in operation, because I would think it could affect people if it's using microwaves here. But you guys can let me know what you think on that. Maybe could we see Ukraine getting some type of equipment like this in the future? I think it could be possible. But again, I guess it would depend on where they use this at if there's a threat to civilian life. Now, from Jay in Kiev, it seems the rumors are true. Russia's borrowing military hardware from Kazakhstan for Moscow's May 9th parade. Did something happen? This from out of Astana, Kazakhstan. Okay, so here's a video coming out today of somebody driving through Kazakhstan, and they can see all these military equipments heading over to Russia from Kazakhstan. Okay, so it looks like Russia has to borrow a bunch of military equipment because everything's being thrown into Ukraine and probably destroyed by now. So yeah, they're having to borrow a lot of equipment just to make this parade appear as if they still have a military with lots of equipment. So kind of a funny video coming out today if that happens to be true. Now for Vice Grad 24, USA has voted against a UN resolution on cooperation with the Council of Europe because it included the words condemnation of Russian aggression against Ukraine. Only 8 other states voted against: Russia, Belarus, North Korea, Eritrea, Mali, Nicaragua, Niger, and Sudan. Okay, so these were the countries that voted against this measure. So the USA voted against this also. Okay, this is a measure on or UN resolution on cooperation with the Council of Europe, and apparently it included words condemning Russia's invasion against Ukraine and their aggression, and the US was like, no, we're not going to agree to this. And apparently one of the major reasons why they voted against it was because they were stating that it would harm negotiations with Russia. Okay, so clearly the US is standing on the side of Russia right now, and in a lot of ways people would say they're defending them. But they claim that they are doing this to protect negotiations, to not sabotage any future cooperation with Russia. Now, from NOAA reports, overnight, Russia launched 75 Shahed drones at Ukraine. A total of 25 were shot down. 30 more were suppressed by electronic warfare or were lost in location. All right, so here's your daily update here with this diagram showing 75 drones entering in Ukraine, 25 being shot down from what we understand here, and then we've got some that were taken down by electronic warfare. So it looks like quite a few of them got through into Ukraine, as we know that Dnipro was definitely hit last night. Many other cities like even Odessa being hit by drones last night. So this kind of makes sense why we had so much damage, not very many being shot down, as normally we see more than 50% being destroyed, okay? Now from the Kyiv Independent, these are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of April 17th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. All right, guys, our final update of the day. Russia's losses as of April 17th, 1,230 troops, 54 AFVs, 170 vehicles and fuel tanks, 16 tanks, 65 artillery systems, 88 UAVs, 22 MLRS, 3 anti-aircraft warfare systems, and 3 special equipment. Okay, so lots being destroyed today from what I see here with a lot of these numbers. Troop numbers right about the same, 54 AVs, a little bit higher than normal. We usually see 20 or 30 on average. Vehicles and fuel tanks still sitting high around 200 per day. And 16 tanks, a little bit more than normal. We usually see about 5 to 9 or maybe 10 at the most. So a little bit higher in tank numbers. 65 artillery systems on the higher end also. And then on this side, we usually don't have anything over here except maybe a couple special equipment, but we did have 3 anti-aircraft warfare systems being destroyed recently as well. Okay, so lots of big hits on the Russian side, guys. Tons of huge news coming out from this war today, and I want to thank you all very much for tuning in for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell, that way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.